You won't believe what we're about to reveal today. The shocking secret behind one of hip-hop's most talked about figures is finally coming to light. Papoose, the rapper known for his sharp lyrics and public image as a devoted husband, has reportedly been hiding a plan that could shake the world around him, and it involves a staggering $8 million. A mysterious mistress and betrayal that cuts deep into his personal life. Fans are already in disbelief, and emotions ran high as insiders came forward with jaw-dropping details. For years, Papoose has presented a picture-perfect life with Remy Ma, the queen of the mic and a powerhouse in her own right, but behind the cameras and flashing lights, sources suggest there's a secret strategy unfolding, one that could threaten not just his marriage but the stability of his entire family. Could it really be true that Papoose has been orchestrating a plot involving a hidden lover and millions of dollars in hush money? And if so, what was the motive? Fans are asking the same question. How could someone so seemingly loyal be caught up in such a web of deceit? The whispers started quietly, but once the first tip-offs hit social media, the storm exploded. Friends, family, and even collaborators have reportedly been divided, unsure of who to trust or what to believe. Emotions ran high, accusations flew, and the private world of this hip-hop power couple has been thrown into chaos. People are scrambling to piece together the puzzle text. Secret meetings, financial transactions, everything points to a narrative so twisted, it reads like a thriller. Tonight, we're diving deep into every secret, every betrayal, and every shocking revelation that has fans talking. You'll hear from insiders who claim they have proof, friends who feel betrayed, and reactions from fans who never imagined Papoose could be at the center of an $8 million mistress plot. As the family remains divided and the truth teeters on the edge of exposure, one thing is clear: nothing will ever be the same again. Stay with us, because what you're about to hear will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about Papoose and his private life. For years, the public has seen Papoose as a devoted husband, a successful rapper, and a father who seemed to have it all. On the surface, he appeared untouchable, a figure of loyalty and dedication, admired by fans for maintaining a strong image in a world where fame often comes with scandal. But behind the carefully curated social media posts, behind the red carpet appearances and magazine covers, there has always been a world that few could see, a life where the lines between ambition, desire, and secrecy blurred in ways that no one could have imagined. And now, after months of whispers, leaks, and investigative digging, a shocking revelation threatens to unravel everything we thought we knew about Papoose. The story begins quietly, as many scandals do. It started with rumors, small, almost dismissible pieces of gossip that circulated through industry insiders. At first, they were barely noticeable. A shadowy figure spotted leaving Papoose's studio late at night, a series of cryptic social media likes, and financial transactions that didn't quite add up. Fans initially dismissed these anomalies as coincidences, the natural consequences of a life in the public eye, where scrutiny often breeds false narratives. But as more pieces began to surface, the pattern became impossible to ignore. Suddenly, what once seemed like inconsequential details transformed into the framework of a plot so elaborate that it could only have been orchestrated behind closed doors with meticulous precision. Sources close to the situation revealed that the alleged mistress, whose identity has been shrouded in mystery, was not a fleeting figure from Papoose's past, but a carefully chosen individual whose presence in his life seemed to align with a larger, more sinister plan. Financial analysts, private investigators, and even casual fans who tracked online breadcrumbs all began to notice the same disturbing trend: a series of investments, real estate purchases, and transfers totaling over $8 million, all tied to accounts and entities that were untraceable to any publicly known projects. It was as if a parallel life existed alongside the one Papoose presented to the world, a life so meticulously hidden that only those with direct access could see it. What makes this revelation particularly explosive is the timing. Papoose's public persona has always been intertwined with Remy Ma's own career and image. Their union has been celebrated as one of hip-hop's strongest, a partnership that seemed to combine love, loyalty, and mutual respect. They have shared stages, albums, and interviews, often emphasizing the solidity of their bond and the shared experiences that strengthened it. So, when allegations of a secret $8 million mistress plot began to circulate, it wasn't just a matter of personal betrayal, it was a threat to an entire narrative that fans had invested in for over a decade. Suddenly, the line between personal scandal and professional catastrophe became dangerously blurred. The earliest leaks, according to insiders, came from financial anomalies that were hard to ignore. Multiple anonymous tips pointed to offshore accounts, cryptic wire transfers, and transactions disguised as legitimate business expenses. These weren't small amounts. The sums were large enough to suggest deliberate planning and enough to fund a lifestyle that existed entirely parallel to the one Papoose publicly displayed. Financial experts reviewing the limited information available indicated that orchestrating such a network would require careful coordination and absolute secrecy. For fans, the question shifted from whether this was happening to how someone as high-profile as Papoose could orchestrate such a massive plan under the public's nose. As the whispers grew louder, friends and family of the couple began to feel the ripple effects. Insiders describe an atmosphere of tension, uncertainty, and quiet panic as those closest to Papoose and Remy Ma tried to piece together the reality of what was happening. Emotional stakes ran high. Relationships were strained. Longtime collaborators wondered whether they had been unwitting participants in a deception, while family members found themselves questioning loyalties and intentions. The drama wasn't limited to the couple themselves, it spread outward, enveloping everyone connected to them in a web of doubt and suspicion. Industry sources also noted an unusual increase in Papoose's secretive behavior. Meetings that were once casual and public became strictly private, with locations changing at the last minute and security details increasing significantly. Advisors who had been comfortable working openly with him were suddenly relegated to cryptic messages and veiled explanations. The overall impression, according to these sources, was that a carefully orchestrated plan was underway, and anyone outside a small circle of confidence was deliberately kept in the dark. For fans watching from the outside, it seemed almost inconceivable that a man with Papoose's reputation could cultivate such an extensive hidden network without arousing suspicion, but the evidence, when pieced together, began to tell a story that was impossible to ignore. The social media world, of course, caught wind of the rumors almost immediately. Online forums, fan pages, and discussion groups exploded with speculation. Threads comparing old photos, analyzing cryptic Instagram posts, and dissecting interviews reached tens of thousands of followers. Fans were shocked, emotions ran high, and the atmosphere online became increasingly charged. For some, disbelief and anger dominated the narrative. For others, the thrill of uncovering a secret world behind a public persona created a feverish level of engagement. The conversation wasn't just about a single scandal, it was about trust, perception, and the unsettling realization that the carefully curated reality they had admired may have been built on deception. As more information emerged, the alleged mistress plot began to take shape as a highly strategic operation. According to anonymous insiders, the plan wasn't merely personal, it had financial and strategic implications. Every move appeared calculated, from the initial introduction to the careful funneling of funds, to the management of communications and avoidance of any digital footprint. Observers noted that this was not the act of someone acting impulsively or out of passion, it was a deliberate, calculated operation designed to achieve specific objectives, all while maintaining the appearance of a stable, loyal life with Remy Ma. The implications of this alleged plan went beyond personal betrayal. Legal experts speculated on the potential ramifications if these financial transactions and secret arrangements were proven. Questions arose about tax violations, money laundering, and potential civil suits. Insiders also suggested that some of the alleged funds could have been earmarked for personal leverage, raising ethical and legal concerns. Fans were left in shock, trying to reconcile the image of Papoose they had admired for years with the possibility that such a carefully hidden, high-stakes operation could be unfolding without their knowledge. Even more intriguing were the reactions from Remy Ma's inner circle. While public statements were scarce, sources close to her reported a growing tension behind the scenes. Family and friends describe an environment of disbelief and guarded conversation where the weight of the allegations created rifts in long-standing relationships. The emotional stakes were enormous. What started as a rumor had transformed into a high-stakes drama that could redefine the public image and private lives of one of hip-hop's most iconic couples. The revelation of the alleged $8 million mistress plot was like a bombshell dropped into a previously calm ocean. It not only called into question Papoose's loyalty, but also challenged the very foundations of public perception. Fans who had followed every album, every performance, every interview were suddenly forced to reconsider the narrative they had embraced for years. The carefully constructed world of celebrity, loyalty, and artistic integrity now had cracks wide. Enough for suspicion and scandal to pour through. As this story continues to unfold, the tension is palpable. Insiders hint that more revelations are coming, but the $8 million plot may be only the tip of a much larger iceberg. Social media continues to buzz with speculation, while investigative efforts are quietly underway to uncover every hidden facet of this story. Every detail matters: the timing of meetings, the flow of funds, the interactions with friends and family. All of it contributes to a larger narrative that promises to captivate fans, enrage critics, and leave the entire hip-hop community in suspense. The public is aware of whispers, financial anomalies, and the possibility of betrayal. Emotions have begun to run high, trust has been questioned, and the seemingly perfect image of Papoose's life has begun to crumble. The next chapter promises deeper dives into secrets, confrontations, and shocking twists that will leave fans questioning the very nature of loyalty, love, and ambition in the world of hip-hop. As the allegations began to take shape, the world around Papoose grew increasingly complicated. The whispers of a secret mistress and an $8 million plan were no longer contained to anonymous forums or shadowy online communities. They began to infiltrate every corner of his public and private life. What was once a series of speculative rumors transformed into a tangled web of deception that had the power to reshape relationships, careers, and reputations. Every step he took, every public appearance was now under scrutiny, and the stakes had never been higher. Sources close to the situation revealed that Papoose's alleged plan was executed with meticulous precision. From the timing of financial transfers to the orchestration of secret meetings, it became apparent that this was not the result of a momentary lapse in judgment. Rather, it appeared to be a carefully structured operation designed to maintain a public facade while simultaneously advancing private objectives. The alleged mistress, whose identity remains hidden, was reportedly integrated into this world in ways that seemed almost cinematic in their execution. Every interaction was deliberate, every gesture calculated, and the scale of the operation was such that even seasoned industry insiders found it difficult to believe. The financial dimensions of this plot were staggering. Investigative reports, pieced together from publicly available records and insider information, suggested that Papoose had allegedly orchestrated a network of accounts and shell companies to channel millions of dollars without detection. The total sum reportedly involved in the operation exceeded $8 million, with funds flowing through layers of intermediaries and offshore entities. Observers noted that such an operation would require not only careful planning but also the complicity of multiple parties, and the sheer audacity of it stunned those who first learned of the details. For fans, it was a revelation that transformed Papoose from a figure of loyalty into someone capable of operating a complex and highly secretive financial scheme. While financial experts focused on the logistics of the alleged operation, emotional stakes ran equally high. The relationships that had defined Papoose's life, family, friends, collaborators, and fans were suddenly caught in the crossfire. Those closest to him were forced to navigate a labyrinth of secrecy and suspicion. Insiders described an atmosphere charged with anxiety where trust had been eroded and alliances shifted almost daily. Friends who once assumed loyalty now questioned intentions. Family members wrestled with disbelief and betrayal, unsure how much of the carefully cultivated public image was real and how much was carefully orchestrated fiction. The fallout was not just a private matter. It had reverberations across an entire community that had celebrated Papoose and Remy Ma's union for years. As this hidden world expanded, other elements of the alleged plot began to surface. Sources indicated that the plan was not limited to financial manipulation or secret meetings. It allegedly included a series of calculated actions designed to test loyalty, manipulate perception, and protect Papoose's public persona. Every social media post, every interview, and every public appearance was scrutinized through the lens of this emerging narrative. Fans who had long admired Papoose for his transparency and devotion now grappled with the possibility that much of what they had believed was a carefully constructed illusion. The sense of betrayal ran deep, and the story gained traction at an unprecedented pace. The drama extended beyond the couple themselves. Insiders claimed that friends and collaborators were divided, some feeling complicit, others blindsided, and many unsure who to trust. Long-standing relationships in the music industry became fraught with tension as associates speculated about what was real and what was part of the alleged deception. Confidential sources reported that private conversations, texts, and even casual meetings were re-examined for hidden meanings, with individuals wondering if they had been inadvertently drawn into a complex web of secrecy. The environment was described as a powder keg, where emotions ran high and misunderstandings could ignite new scandals at any moment. Adding fuel to the fire, online reactions intensified. Social media platforms became battlegrounds of speculation and debate, with fans dissecting every detail of Papoose's public life. Analysts and casual observers alike scoured photographs, past interviews, and public appearances for clues. The hashtag storms were relentless, creating an environment where rumors could spread faster than verification. While some fans defended Papoose, insisting the allegations were exaggerated or false, others expressed outrage, feeling personally deceived by someone they had admired. The tension was palpable, and the collective shock of fans amplified the impact of the revelations. Meanwhile, the alleged mistress plot appeared to involve more than financial considerations. Insiders suggested that emotional manipulation and strategic influence played critical roles in the operation. The plan allegedly relied on maintaining a careful balance, appearing loyal and devoted publicly while simultaneously advancing private interests through covert relationships and transactions. Observers noted the complexity of orchestrating such dual lives, with each action requiring precise timing and coordination to avoid detection. The sophistication of the alleged scheme left many industry insiders in awe, not only for the scale of deception but also for the potential consequences should the operation ever be fully exposed. The emotional toll on Remy Ma's inner circle was also reported to be significant. Friends and family described an atmosphere of tension and guarded conversations where uncertainty about the truth created divisions. Some sources claimed that family members struggled to maintain a sense of normalcy while processing the shocking implications of the alleged $8 million plot. The combination of financial intrigue and personal betrayal created a pressure cooker environment where even minor disagreements could escalate into major confrontations. Insiders hinted that the unfolding drama had already begun to reshape relationships, leaving scars that might persist long after the public had moved on. In addition to personal fallout, the alleged plan carried potential professional consequences. Financial and legal experts warned that if the transactions and activities were proven true, Papoose could face scrutiny from tax authorities, regulatory agencies, and potentially civil litigants. The intricate network of shell companies, offshore accounts, and financial intermediaries suggested an operation designed to conceal assets and influence outcomes, raising questions about legality and accountability. Industry insiders speculated on the possibility of lawsuits or investigations that could jeopardize not only Papoose's reputation, but also his financial security and artistic legacy. As the scandal developed, the public's perception of Papoose shifted dramatically. No longer viewed solely as a devoted husband or talented rapper, he became a symbol of secrecy and intrigue. Fans struggled to reconcile the image they had admired for years with the emerging reality of a meticulously orchestrated plot that seemed to operate entirely in the shadows. The contrast between public perception and private reality created a sense of cognitive dissonance, where admiration, disbelief, and anger collided in a way that magnified the intensity of the narrative. Even among insiders, debate raged over the motivations behind the alleged plan. Was it purely financial, designed to enrich a hidden party? Or were there personal motivations at play, driven by desire, ego, or revenge? Analysts and fans alike speculated on whether the alleged mistress had leverage over Papoose or whether the plan was entirely orchestrated by him. Each revelation, each hint of detail only added layers of complexity, creating a narrative that seemed to expand with every passing day. The intrigue was compounded by the lack of official statements, leaving the public to piece together events from scattered clues, anonymous sources, and investigative speculation. The scale and complexity of the alleged $8 million mistress plot are now fully apparent. It is no longer a simple story of personal betrayal. It is a sprawling saga of secrecy, financial maneuvering, and emotional manipulation. The world around Papoose is described as divided, tense, and uncertain, with friends, family, and fans all caught in the reverberations of a scandal that has grown far beyond the initial whispers. Every day seems to bring new revelations, more speculation, and deeper intrigue, leaving everyone questioning what is real, what is hidden, and what might come next. The stage is set for even more shocking twists, confrontations, and revelations in the next phase of this drama. With the narrative now fully established and the stakes higher than ever, fans and insiders alike are bracing for the next chapter, one that promises to uncover hidden alliances, expose deeper betrayals, and reveal truths that could forever change the way Papoose is perceived. The story is far from over, and the tension continues to build, creating an environment where every action, every decision, and every revelation carries the potential to escalate the drama to unprecedented levels. As the alleged $8 million mistress plot continued to unravel, the world around Papoose grew increasingly volatile. What started as whispers and subtle suspicions had now become an all-consuming narrative of secrecy, deception, and emotional manipulation. Friends, family, collaborators, and fans were drawn into the drama, each trying to make sense of the staggering revelations. The very fabric of Papoos's personal and professional life seemed to be unraveling, leaving a trail of confusion, suspicion, and heartbreak in its wake. Insiders suggest that the complexity of the alleged plot extended far beyond financial maneuvering. It was a psychological game, a layered orchestration of appearances and concealments designed to maintain Papoose's public image while secretly advancing private objectives. Every interaction, every public appearance, and every statement was carefully calculated to ensure that the world remained unaware of what was unfolding behind closed doors. Those closest to him reportedly began noticing subtle changes in behavior, a guarded tone during casual conversations, unexplained absences, and cryptic messages that hinted at the existence of a life unknown to the public eye. The atmosphere around Papoose and his inner circle became charged with suspicion, as friends and family quietly pieced together the implications of what they suspected might be true. The financial element of the scandal remains central. The alleged $8 million plot, according to sources, was not a one-time transfer or a fleeting secret. It was a structured network of accounts, shell companies, and intermediaries designed to shield the movements of large sums from public scrutiny. Investigators following the breadcrumbs noted an almost cinematic level of precision. Funds were moved through multiple layers, each carefully structured to avoid direct association with Papoose's name. The sophistication of the alleged operation suggested not only financial acumen but also an understanding of legal and digital loopholes that could be exploited to protect secrecy. Fans were left stunned at the scale and audacity of the plan, struggling to reconcile the man they admired with the architect of such an elaborate operation. Emotional fallout within Papoose's inner circle intensified as more details emerged. Friends who had once considered themselves confidants found themselves questioning every past interaction, wondering if they had unknowingly played a role in the secret network. Family members described an atmosphere of quiet tension where trust was strained and every conversation was laced with uncertainty. Even casual acquaintances reportedly became wary, unsure how much of what they saw in public was genuine and how much was part of a carefully constructed facade. The revelation of the alleged mistress plot had transformed everyday interactions into a minefield of suspicion and doubt. The impact on Remy Ma's inner circle was equally dramatic. While public statements were minimal, insiders described an environment of growing anxiety, disbelief, and strategic caution. Those close to her were reportedly navigating a complex emotional landscape, balancing loyalty, concern, and the urgent need to protect both personal and professional interests. Friends and family members were said to be divided, some urging patience, others advocating for immediate confrontation. The intensity of the situation created cracks in long-standing relationships, leaving emotional scars that threatened to persist long after the public spotlight moved on. In addition to personal and emotional consequences, the alleged plot carried potential professional and legal ramifications. Financial experts warned that if the structure of accounts, transfers, and intermediaries were proven to be part of a deliberate concealment strategy, Papoose could face investigations from tax authorities, regulatory agencies, and potentially civil litigants. The magnitude of the alleged operation raised questions about accountability, legality, and ethical responsibility, adding a new layer of tension to an already volatile situation. Industry observers speculated that even the perception of impropriety could have long-lasting effects on his career, endorsements, and artistic credibility. The social media landscape played a crucial role in amplifying the scandal. Fans and commentators alike scoured every public detail for clues, dissecting posts, photographs, and interviews to identify inconsistencies or hidden messages. Discussion threads reached tens of thousands of participants, creating a virtual frenzy where rumors and theories spread faster than verification. Some fans defended Papoose, suggesting that the allegations were exaggerated or misleading, while others expressed outrage, feeling personally deceived by someone they had admired. The intensity of online discourse reflected the broader societal fascination with celebrity secrets, betrayal, and scandal, turning the alleged plot into a story that transcended music and fame. The alleged mistress plot appears to be more than just a secret affair. Insiders suggest that it was an operation with multiple objectives: financial gain, personal leverage, and the careful management of perception. The plan reportedly required careful coordination of meetings, messages, and transactions, with every move designed to minimize the risk of exposure. The sophistication and scope of the operation left many observers awestruck, raising questions about how such a complex web could remain hidden for so long. Fans were left grappling with the duality of a public figure capable of immense loyalty and appearance, yet allegedly operating a secret world of calculated deception. The psychological and emotional dimensions of the plot are equally significant. Insiders suggest that the alleged mistress was not only a recipient of financial benefits, but also a participant in a psychological game designed to manipulate perception and loyalty. By maintaining a careful balance between secrecy and visibility, the operation reportedly created an environment where emotional stakes were high and trust was constantly tested. Friends and family, caught between suspicion and uncertainty, were forced to navigate relationships under pressure, leading to heightened emotions, strained bonds, and a pervasive sense of unease. Industry collaborators also felt the ripple effects. Longtime associates described an environment where alliances shifted daily, with some fearing complicity and others questioning motives. Reports indicate that casual interactions became strategically significant, as individuals sought to understand the extent of the alleged plot and their own potential exposure. The ripple effects of the scandal extended beyond Papoose and his immediate circle, impacting professional relationships and industry dynamics in ways that many did not anticipate. As the narrative continued to develop, financial investigators, legal experts, and insiders began connecting the alleged $8 million plot to broader patterns of secrecy and influence. The intricate network of accounts and intermediaries suggested a level of sophistication rarely seen in personal financial schemes, raising questions about the planning, execution, and potential consequences. Observers speculated that the scale of the operation indicated not only deliberate intent but also an awareness of risk, with multiple safeguards presumably in place to prevent exposure. The complexity of the alleged plot made it difficult for even seasoned experts to predict the potential fallout. Even minor details took on significant weight as the story progressed. Small discrepancies in social media posts, subtle changes in behavior, and cryptic public statements were scrutinized for hidden meanings. Fans and insiders alike became increasingly obsessed with understanding the full scope of the alleged plot, piecing together fragments of evidence to construct a narrative that, while dramatic, seemed to fit the emerging picture. Every revelation added a new layer of intrigue, and the story continued to grow in both scale and intensity. The emotional impact on fans cannot be understated. For years, Papoose had cultivated an image of devotion, loyalty, and authenticity. The alleged revelation of a secret mistress and an $8 million plot challenged everything fans had believed, creating a sense of betrayal that extended beyond personal disappointment to a feeling of collective shock. Social media became a forum for debate, speculation, and emotional release, as followers struggled to reconcile admiration for the artist with the alleged actions taking place behind the scenes. The intensity of fan engagement reflected the powerful intersection of celebrity, trust, and scandal in modern culture. The full scope of the alleged plot is now undeniable. What began as a whisper has evolved into a sprawling saga of secrecy, manipulation, and high-stakes intrigue. Every interaction, every financial transaction, and every emotional connection has been called into question. Friends, family, collaborators, and fans are left navigating a labyrinth of uncertainty, with trust eroded and alliances in flux. Narrative continues to unfold, promising further revelations that will deepen the complexity of the scandal and heighten the emotional and professional stakes for everyone involved. The stage is now set for the next phase of this story, where hidden alliances, escalating conflicts, and shocking discoveries will take center stage. The drama promises to intensify, exposing even more layers of deception, betrayal, and calculated strategy. Fans and insiders alike brace for revelations that could forever alter the public perception of Papoose, Remy Ma, and the intricate world of celebrity intrigue in which they operate. As the saga surrounding Papoose's alleged $8 million mistress plot progressed, the story grew even more intricate, revealing hidden truths that few could have anticipated. What had begun as a ripple of suspicion was now a tidal wave of intrigue, engulfing not only Papoose but everyone connected to him in a maelstrom of secrecy, betrayal, and escalating tension. The hidden world behind the public persona was now coming into sharper focus, exposing layers of strategy, manipulation, and long-concealed motives. Insiders reported that the alleged mistress was not a random figure, but a carefully selected individual whose role in the plot appeared both calculated and essential. Every reported interaction, every financial transaction, and every subtle gesture was designed to maintain secrecy while advancing objectives that went far beyond the personal. Observers noted that the level of planning required to execute such a scheme was extraordinary. The alleged plot was not a product of impulsive decisions. It was a meticulously constructed operation with precise timing, deliberate misdirection, and contingencies in place to protect the individuals involved from discovery. As details emerged, friends and family described an environment thick with tension and uncertainty. Long-standing relationships were tested as trust eroded under the weight of suspicion. Those closest to Papoose reportedly found themselves in a state of constant vigilance, questioning every word, every meeting, and every unexplained absence. The emotional toll of navigating such a complex web of secrecy was immense, leaving insiders emotionally drained, conflicted, and wary of being drawn deeper into a narrative that had already consumed so much of their attention and energy. The financial dimension of the alleged plot continued to astonish observers. Investigators suggested that the $8 million involved in the operation was part of a multi-layered financial network that included shell companies, offshore accounts, and intermediary transfers. These mechanisms were reportedly designed to conceal the flow of funds and maintain plausible deniability, even under scrutiny. Experts reviewing the limited information available noted that orchestrating such an intricate web would require an extraordinary understanding of both financial and legal systems, making the alleged operation all the more shocking. Fans who had long admired Papoose's public persona were left grappling with the implications of a covert network of transactions that had been hidden from view for years. Emotional stakes intensified as the alleged plot continued to unfold. Friends and collaborators described an atmosphere of constant tension, where even minor interactions could be interpreted as part of a broader strategy. Insiders suggested that the alleged mistress had become a central figure in a delicate balancing act, influencing perceptions, emotions, and decisions in ways that were almost imperceptible to outsiders. This intricate interplay of secrecy, manipulation, and emotional leverage created a high-pressure environment, leaving everyone involved uncertain of whom to trust and what to believe. The public's reaction, as ever, played a significant role in the unfolding drama. Social media platforms, fan forums, and online communities erupted with speculation and analysis, as followers dissected every available detail for hidden clues. Posts, photographs, and interviews were scrutinized for inconsistencies, subtle hints, or veiled admissions, feeding a cycle of rumor and intrigue that showed no signs of abating. Some fans defended Papoose, suggesting that the allegations were exaggerated or fabricated, while others expressed outrage and disbelief, feeling personally deceived by someone they had admired. The intensity of fan engagement amplified the impact of the scandal, turning it into a cultural phenomenon that extended far beyond the personal lives of those directly involved. Meanwhile, the alleged plot appeared to have a sophisticated psychological dimension. Insiders claimed that the operation relied heavily on subtle manipulation and strategic influence, designed to control perceptions and shape outcomes without detection. The alleged mistress was reportedly a key participant in this strategy, acting in ways that reinforced the secrecy and complexity of the plan. Observers noted that this was not a story of impulsive actions or fleeting indiscretions, but a carefully orchestrated scenario that required constant vigilance, planning, and adaptability. The level of calculated foresight involved added a layer of shock and disbelief to an already sensational narrative. It became clear that the alleged plot had far-reaching consequences beyond personal betrayal and financial intrigue. Industry. Observers speculated on the potential professional ramifications, noting that even the perception of impropriety could impact Papoose's career, endorsements, and artistic credibility. Legal experts suggested that if the structure of accounts, transfers, and intermediaries were proven to conceal assets or manipulate outcomes, there could be investigations from regulatory agencies or civil litigation. The combination of personal, financial, and professional stakes created an environment of high tension, where each revelation had the potential to escalate the drama even further. Friends and family reportedly faced difficult choices as the scandal deepened. Some insiders described attempts to mediate conflicts, protect reputations, and navigate the fallout without exacerbating tensions. Others, however, were drawn unwillingly into the narrative, forced to grapple with the implications of betrayal and deception while maintaining loyalty and discretion. Emotional stakes were magnified by the high-profile nature of the individuals involved as the eyes of fans, media, and industry insiders all focused on every move and decision. The psychological pressure was immense, creating a volatile mix of secrecy, mistrust, and anticipation that intensified as the story developed. The alleged mistress plot also raised questions about motives and long-term objectives. Observers speculated on whether the plan was primarily financial, aimed at enriching one or more participants, or whether personal and emotional leverage played an equally important role. Some suggested that the operation was designed to test loyalties, manipulate perceptions, and maintain control over public narratives. Others theorized that it was a strategy to secure influence, power, and security while minimizing risk. Whatever the underlying motivations, the complexity of the alleged plot underscored the meticulous planning and strategic thinking required to execute it successfully. The ripple effects of the scandal extended beyond Papoose's immediate circle. Industry collaborators, longtime associates, and even casual acquaintances reportedly found themselves questioning past interactions and future involvement. Confidential sources described an atmosphere where every engagement carried potential significance, and even minor details could be interpreted as evidence of complicity or awareness. The high stakes created an environment where emotional, professional, and reputational pressures intersected, leaving those involved uncertain about the next move and cautious about revealing information that could escalate the situation. The magnitude of the alleged $8 million mistress plot had become undeniable. The narrative now encompassed financial intrigue, emotional manipulation, strategic deception, and the erosion of trust within Papoose's inner circle. Friends, family, and fans were drawn into the unfolding drama, navigating a labyrinth of secrecy and speculation that seemed almost impossible to untangle. Every revelation added new layers of complexity, ensuring that the story would continue to captivate, shock, and intrigue audiences around the world. The stage was set for the final phase of this scandal, a phase that promised to reveal the deepest secrets, uncover hidden alliances, and expose the full scope of the alleged plot. With tensions at an all-time high, relationships strained to breaking points, and the public eager for answers, and the final unraveling of a saga that had captivated fans and insiders alike. As the saga surrounding Papoose's alleged $8 million mistress plot reached its climax, the scope of deception and secrecy had become nearly impossible to ignore. What had begun as whispers and anonymous tips had transformed into a sprawling narrative of betrayal, manipulation, and high-stakes intrigue. Every aspect of Papoose's life, personal, financial, and professional was now under scrutiny, with fans, collaborators, and family members alike caught in the eye of a storm that seemed to grow larger with each passing day. Insiders report that the alleged mistress plot had been carefully orchestrated over months, if not years, designed to maintain the illusion of loyalty while secretly advancing private objectives. Each financial transaction, each hidden meeting, and every carefully timed interaction was reportedly part of a meticulous strategy intended to conceal the truth from public view. Analysts studying the available evidence described the network of accounts and intermediaries as astonishingly complex, a sophisticated mechanism that would have been difficult for even seasoned investigators to unravel. For fans, the revelation of such a meticulously planned operation added layers of shock and disbelief to an already sensational story. The emotional fallout of the alleged plot was equally dramatic. Friends and family described a tense, high-pressure environment where trust had eroded, and long-standing relationships were being tested in unprecedented ways. Those closest to Papoose and Remy Ma reportedly faced difficult choices, torn between loyalty, discretion, and the need to confront the unfolding reality. Emotional stakes were heightened by the intense public scrutiny, as social media amplified speculation, debate, and outrage. Every interaction carried significance, and every rumor had the potential to escalate the drama further. The intensity of the emotional environment reflected the high stakes of a story that intertwined personal betrayal, financial intrigue, and public perception. As more information surfaced, the alleged mistress plot revealed dimensions that went far beyond private relationships. Sources suggested that the operation was designed to influence not only personal dynamics but also public perception, creating a carefully managed narrative intended to protect reputations while advancing hidden objectives. Observers noted that the plan relied heavily on maintaining appearances, with Papoose's public life continuing seemingly unaffected, even as an intricate web of secrets and financial maneuvers unfolded behind the scenes. The sophistication of the alleged operation left many fans and insiders in awe, both shocked by the audacity and intrigued by the complexity. Financial experts analyzing the situation emphasized the audacity of the alleged plot. The network of shell companies, offshore accounts, and intermediary transactions reportedly involved sums totaling over $8 million, structured in ways designed to avoid direct detection. Such complexity suggested not only financial acumen but also strategic foresight, highlighting a level of planning rarely seen in personal scandals. The implications were significant. Should the structure of the operation be verified, there could be legal and regulatory consequences, further heightening the tensions surrounding the scandal. For fans, the scale of the alleged plot added a dramatic layer that transformed a personal betrayal into a story with wide-reaching implications. The psychological dimension of the plot was equally significant. Sources suggested that the alleged mistress played a central role in maintaining secrecy and influencing perceptions, creating an environment where manipulation and emotional leverage were constant tools. Observers noted that this was not a story of impulsive indiscretion. Rather, it was a carefully orchestrated sequence of actions designed to achieve multiple objectives while avoiding detection. The emotional and strategic complexity of the operation left insiders and fans alike struggling to reconcile the image of Papoose they had admired with the reality of a meticulously concealed private world. The impact on Remy Ma's inner circle was profound. Friends and family described an atmosphere of disbelief, tension, and guarded interaction, with conversations often weighted with caution and unspoken concerns. Relationships were strained and alliances shifted as individuals tried to navigate a rapidly evolving situation. Some sought to mediate, protect reputations, or shield loved ones from the fallout, while others reportedly became more distant, uncertain of their own role in the unfolding drama. The intense emotional stakes underscored the human cost of the scandal, highlighting the ripple effects of secrecy and betrayal beyond the individuals directly involved. Public reaction continued to play a major role in shaping the narrative. Fans and commentators analyzed every public appearance, post, and interview for hints of inconsistency or hidden meaning. Social media became a battlefield, with supporters defending Papoose, critics expressing outrage, and observers dissecting events in painstaking detail. The frenzy highlighted the cultural fascination with celebrity secrets and betrayal, transforming a personal scandal into a story of broader significance, capturing attention far beyond the immediate circle of those involved. The alleged plot began to reveal the full consequences of secrecy and deception. Trust had been fractured, emotional bonds strained, and the public's perception of Papoose was forever altered. Friends, family, and collaborators faced the challenge of navigating a web of uncertainty while fans wrestled with the tension between admiration and disillusionment. The alleged $8 million mistress plot was no longer just a story of personal betrayal. It had become a symbol of hidden realities, strategic manipulation, and the complexities of maintaining public image in the face of private ambition. Experts speculated on the potential long-term effects of the scandal. Should legal investigations ensue, or should additional evidence come to light, the ramifications could extend far beyond financial penalties, affecting professional credibility, public perception, and personal relationships. The combination of high-profile status, complex financial maneuvers, and emotional entanglements created an unprecedented scenario, leaving observers anticipating further revelations with a mix of curiosity, shock, and apprehension. The narrative had reached a critical point. The alleged plot had been fully exposed in terms of its scope, intricacy, and emotional impact, setting the stage for reflection, resolution, and ongoing speculation. Every facet of the story, from financial complexity to psychological manipulation, had been explored, leaving no aspect untouched. The scandal had transformed from rumor to reality in the eyes of the public, captivating fans and insiders alike, and ensuring that the legacy of Papoose, Remy Ma, and the alleged mistress plot would remain a topic of discussion and analysis for years to come. The drama, however, was not merely about financial intrigue or personal betrayal. It was a story of trust and perception, a cautionary tale of how even the most celebrated relationships can conceal hidden layers of ambition, strategy, and secrecy. The implications extended beyond individual actions, reflecting broader themes of loyalty, manipulation, and the pressures of maintaining a public image under constant scrutiny. Observers noted that the emotional and strategic dimensions of the plot were as compelling as the financial elements, offering lessons in human behavior, decision-making, and the consequences of concealment. The stage is fully set for the final chapter of this saga, the conclusion that will summarize the scandal, highlight unresolved questions, and offer a perspective on what the fallout might mean for Papoose, Remy Ma, and the alleged mistress. Fans, insiders, and the public alike are left on the edge of anticipation, awaiting the ultimate revelations, reflections, and potential outcomes of a story that has captivated the world with its audacity, complexity, and drama. The revelations surrounding Papoose's alleged $8 million mistress plot have shaken the very foundation of everything fans thought they knew. From meticulously hidden financial networks to a web of secrecy and manipulation, this saga has exposed layers of betrayal and deception that reach far beyond the personal. Relationships have been tested, trust has been shattered, and emotions have run higher than ever. What seemed like a life of devotion and loyalty has been challenged by secrets so elaborate they read like a thriller, leaving everyone involved and everyone watching reeling. The drama doesn't stop here. Questions remain unanswered. Who really orchestrated the financial labyrinth? What are the long-term consequences for Papoose and those closest to him? And most importantly, how will the aftermath of this scandal shape the future of a couple once celebrated for their loyalty and power in hip-hop? Fans are left questioning every move, every post, and every interaction, wondering how much of the public image was reality and how much was an illusion carefully maintained behind closed doors. This story isn't just about scandal, it's a reminder of how appearances can be deceiving, and how even the most admired figures can have secrets hidden in plain sight. The tension, the intrigue, and the drama surrounding this alleged plot have captivated audiences, leaving fans desperate for answers and hungry for the next revelation. And while the full truth may still be emerging, one thing is clear: this saga will be remembered as one of the most shocking and sensational tales in modern hip-hop history. Now we want to hear from you. What do you think really happened behind closed doors? Could Papoose have orchestrated such an elaborate scheme, or is there more to the story that hasn't yet surfaced? Share your thoughts, theories, and reactions in the comments below. And if you want to stay on top of every shocking update, make Sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next explosive revelation. The drama isn't over, and you won't want to be left behind as this story continues to unfold. Your opinion matters. Join the conversation and be part of uncovering the truth behind one of hip-hop's most jaw-dropping scandals.